In the next 60 seconds, I am going to start to explain to you why this Premier League player is not just better value for money than either Moises Caicedo or Declan Rice, but also has the potential to be even better with him being reminiscent of the old school Premier League legends like Patrick Vieira, Roy Keane and Steven Gerrard, an all-action midfielder. And if you, like me, much prefer the retro jerseys to the new ones, then go over to Jersey Fever and check out all of their retro jerseys, with Manchester United shirts going all the way back to the 1990s, as well as new season jerseys as well, of course. A link will be left in the description, and if you use code Atlantis at checkout, you'll also get a discount as well. So with Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos set to take over football operations at Manchester United, probably in the next month or so, I think one of the first names at the top of the new recruitment team's target list should be Everton's 22-year-old Belgian central midfielder Amadou Onana. Now, Amadou Onana just from first glance looks as physically imposing as you could probably get from a central midfielder, standing at 6'4" and being physically strong, quick across the ground and also agile when turning. He has the raw physical power that midfielders like Vieira, Yaya Toure, Gerrard and Keane all had, capable of breaking up the opposition's attack on the edge of his own box, before driving the ball up the other end with speed, before looking to make a bursting run into the final third. Onana is also an elite level ball winner, and in just a second when I analyse his Fbref report, you'll be able to see that through the statistics. And it's his physicality and athleticism combined with his long legs, which makes him a dreaded 1v1 opponent for any opposition player trying to carry the ball through the centre of the pitch. And I would argue that he's even better than either Caicedo or Rice at doing this. Onana is hard to beat in a straight race. He reads the game impeccably and he has the leg length and timing of a tackle to take advantage of both. And when it comes to his Fbref report over the past 365 days, when compared against every other midfielder in Europe's top 5 leagues, we can see that he ranks in the high 90th percentiles for the percentage of dribblers he has tackled, as well as the amount of challenges he has lost, showing that whilst his overall defensive volume numbers are being suppressed by playing in a fairly passive Sean Dyche Everton system, Onana is still incredibly reliable in those defensive duels. Onana is the type of midfielder who can turn 20 yards into 10, whereas at the moment with Eriksen and Casemiro, United have a midfield turning 20 yards into 30. Just by putting Amadou Onana into that United midfield, you've already massively improved the pressing and defensive system as a whole, now having someone in that midfield line who excels at anticipating passes in behind the front line press, and then having the ability to jump out and make an interception or tackle high up the pitch. Wherefrom if United have the likes of Fernandes, Rashford, Mount and Højlund all in central positions, they can then look to counter directly, counter-pressing. And so in many ways, Amadou Onana is the perfect gegenpressing midfielder, someone who I think Jurgen Klopp would have loved to sign, had the Belgian not been at Everton of course. Now the main charge levelled against signing this type of ball-winning central midfielder is usually that they aren't good enough in possession, and that's a fair argument, but finding a central midfielder that has the defensive qualities to be a ball winner in every third of the pitch, along with the athleticism to cover large amount of ground in the midfield, of course with the necessary anticipation and positional awareness to function in a deeper midfield area and around their box, is certainly not easy, and that's just without the ball. With the ball, United need a player who has immaculate short passing and ball control in pressurised situations with their back to goal in their own defensive third, as this will allow United to play through the centre of the press, something that De Zerbi's Brighton are showing can be incredibly effective. If you do want me to do a video breaking down De Zerbi's Brighton tactics, then let me know in the comment section below, and subscribe to the channel and click the bell so you do get notified when it comes out. But in the middle third, you also need a progressive passer who isn't just going to circulate the ball sideways, but instead will break the lines of the opposition defensive shape with threaded passes into the likes of Fernandes, Rashford and Mount between the lines. And I haven't even come on to ball carrying ability yet, which is arguably the most important issue for United in possession. You need someone who can take advantage of space centrally, particularly after a turnover, and drive into it powerfully with the ball at their feet. And so you can see it's a pretty long list of criteria. However, in my opinion, Amadou Onana checks all of these boxes and more. Everything I mentioned Onana can do. Now maybe he's not Enzo Fernandez or Rodri level when it comes to his passing, which you can say is reflected by the passing metrics in his Fbref report for Everton over the past 365 days. However, you do have to remember that at the moment, Onana isn't playing in a possession-dominant system, and I actually think that makes a massive difference. The reason players like Sangare, Onana and Edison Alvarez may have pretty mediocre passing metrics is largely, in my opinion, down to the systems and the roles they play for their current clubs. Just from the eye test, I'm confident if you put Onana into that United midfield, his passing metrics instantly go up as much as 50%, because when watching him you can clearly see he's got the technical ability. He's not clunky as a lot of tall central midfielders are, and his agile athleticism would be a breath of fresh air because I'm sick of seeing Casemiro and Eriksen starting behind Bruno Fernandes, and what is a dream midfield in 2020, but a midfield devoid of energy in 2023. Also, you have to factor in the sheer height and physical presence that Onana would bring, and United certainly aren't a dominant side either from offensive or defensive set pieces, and so adding someone in there like Amadou Onana can only improve United in this regard. And unlike Casemiro, who seems to be a red card risk every 5 or 6 games, Onana has only received 1 yellow card in the Premier League this season, and wasn't sent off at all last season despite picking up 9 yellow cards in total in the league. Now he will be expensive, likely between 60 to 70 million pounds, but I honestly think it's worth it, not least because he's still only in his early 20s, but also because he seems to have the right character. Remember back to last season when he tweeted out that he was staying with Everton for the relegation fight and backed it up on the pitch with an incredible performance against Arsenal. That's exactly the type of player that Ten Hag needs at United right now.